Alright, well, anyways, guys, welcome back to a new episode, and it's a sequel to the last one, because Nick is here. Harrison, he just couldn't make it tonight. He's doing his art stuff.
He's got the night off.
Yeah, he's playing God of War. Anyway, but Nick is here to join us to cover some big stuff we excluded from the previous episode, and I think it's going to be fun. So
we're going to talk about the Sony show at E3. We're going to talk about Capcom's resurgence. We're going to talk about one of the things that I think you and I are most excited about.
Mm-hmm.
Resident Evil.
Don't spoil it. Yeah.
I mean,
that was. Let's build up to that though. But anyway, let's start off with which was extremely impressive, and that was The Last of Us 2, which looks insane as far as like how far video games have come.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, and like,
graphically it looks amazing.
Like in all the individual animations and just like the violence and the brutality of it. Like I know the original was 2, and I'm starting to see these like threads online about like, oh my god, Last of Us 2 looks so violent, and I'm just like,
so it's Last of Us 1.
Yeah, what do you expect? Like, so you were smashing skull faces until they were pieces in the original.
It's a bleak, dark, post-apocalyptic game. I mean,
so
it can be a little violent.
So, but like I've liked the direction they're going in. Apparently, it's 4 years after.
I heard 5.
5 years after. So and Joel's obviously not in the picture, probably because maybe she found out about his decision at the end of the game.
A few eagle-eyed viewers proposed a few theories. There's apparently a line, I can't remember who Ellie is dancing with at the cotillion, if you will. But she says something like, your dad really gave me a hard time. So what you'd imagine that refers to Joel, but is that dance hall scene a flashback? Is it a memory?
Is it just like throwing you off? Because I feel like the last trailer they showed was like, what's the context for this? How does this fit into the grander scheme? It was hyper. It was intense and graphically amazing, but like I remember being viscerally like, ugh, like
there was a lot of viscera in that trailer.
Yeah, for sure. But this we finally got to see gameplay.
Yeah, and
it's the next evolution of Naughty Dog's, Uncharted, Last of Us, style.
They continue to refine that formula.
Yeah.
And so to the Joel aspect of it, I think I read an article today that said from Naughty Dog that said that Joel is not a playable character in Last of Us 2. That it's just Ellie.
Are you serious?
They didn't say Joel is not in the game at all, but
not playable. So they.
Right.
I was expecting them to maybe flip the script from the last game. And you're Ellie for the majority, but you'll come to a point where you play as Joel. Who they obviously did not just kill off. They're not going to have some character being like, oh, sorry about Joel. Like he's obviously going to be in the game.
I'm James.
Yeah. But like
Joel's brother.
I mean, like I loved Ellie. She's a great character. But like I want to see that Joel, and maybe they're gonna drop that right before it releases for mega hype.
Yeah. So I think they're definitely like holding back some of the information there to really, I mean,
they gotta save some juice for the marketing. yeah.
Exactly. But it's such a narratively driven game that they don't want to spoil any big developments or plot beats. I'm sure Joel's gonna be in the game in some incarnation or another. But yeah, not playable is interesting.
Yeah. And Druckmann. Actually, there was an interview with Neil Druckmann, the director, and he said that he was asked about a release date, and he said, I don't want to make the same mistake I made with The Last of Us, which had several delays, if I remember correctly. I think it got delayed twice. But obviously turned out amazing, and it shows why. Make the game good, even though it takes longer. But he was saying that he doesn't want to repeat that same mistake twice. So he's probably is going to announce it when it's in a reasonable window. So, but looking great. Last of Us 2 on the radar
excited.
For sure.
It's great. Day one buy for me.
Yeah, day one. Confirmed. Pre-order.
Day one.
Yeah.
Confirmed.
Yeah. All right. So now let's move on to probably, again, the most bizarre choice. And that was Hideo Kojima's Death Stranding. So... that trailer was like just like I love Kojima, how he's creative. He's always like pushing the boundaries for what a video game can be, both narratively and gameplay wise. Like I'm a huge Metal Gear Solid fan. I know Nick is too, and just like what he did with PT and Silent Hills. Like I'm really excited for what he's doing, because I did get some Silent Hills vibe in this. But I think the the front page thing about Death Stranding is it still is confusing what the game is.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure, yeah, that's the headline here, is
Yeah.
that we saw a little bit more about Death Stranding, but I still have no idea what the fuck is going on in that game. There are weird, babies in people's esophaguses, and there are weird phantom creatures with umbilical cords, and yeah, I don't know. Certainly, I'll always show up for a Hideo Kojima game. He's one of our weirdest talents in the game industry. I kind of think of him a little bit as like the David Lynch of the video game world.
For sure.
Has he lost his mind? Is he off his rocker?
We'll find out.
But I'm definitely along for the ride. But yeah, we didn't learn a whole lot about the game.
And I feel like we've been seeing trailers for Death Stranding now for the better part of 2, maybe 3 years. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of like I feel like they should maybe be a bit further along gameplay wise at this point. But I respect them taking their time and building something that's new and that they can be proud of. Mm-hmm. And I like the aesthetic. I like a lot of the ideas. And I don't want to say I'm concerned about the execution, but for some reason my hype meter flattened on this one. Usually those Death Stranding trailers, I get more and more excited for it, but I would of course. Hideo Kojima.
Well, I think we just don't know what we're going to get yet, so it's hard to really, turn the hype meter up to 11 and really get on board when you don't really know what you're getting on board with.
Yeah, but one day they will show us that.
For sure.
Hopefully.
We eagerly await more.
Mm-hmm. Please. Anyway, so next up is, I think, what was the slam dunk for our E3, which is Resident Evil 2 got a fucking remake announced, and they dropped the release date right after the trailer, and it looks so good.
A few weeks ago we were talking about maybe we'll see Resident Evil 2 at this E3. Maybe we'll get a glimpse of it, something, maybe anything. Well, we got a whole lot more than that. We got 2 cinematic trailers, 20 minutes of gameplay, and like you said, a fucking release.
Yeah. Seriously, it's exactly what we like, I think, with game marketing. The fact that they, it looks so well done and so far along in development. It's just, the detail. And the direction for it is, it's 4 meets 7, I feel, It's got the over-the-shoulder, but, that really dark horror tone of 7. Mm-hmm. And it really feels I feel like with a remake, with a game I love that much, I would be sensitive to things. But I was kind of excited because it does seem like they're taking it a bit of a new direction. They're adding more content to it.
It seems I think what comes through to me, or what came through to me in what we saw of the game at E3, was that it seems like they're taking a lot of the various disparate things down throughout the series that worked really well. So they're taking the over-the-shoulder mechanics from the back half of the series. They're taking sort of the light return to horror in 7, and they're combining that with a lot of the original, horror, scary, campy aspects of the original sort of trilogy. And they're uniting into kind of almost like a Resident Evil Plays the Hits kind of game.
Exactly, and it feels like Resident Evil for being pretty new, It has that campiness. I mean, I feel like it has a more serious tone than obviously the original 2.
Just to on the campiness thing, I read an article today that said tofu is in the game.
Okay, well, that's amazing. I would expect they would
Tofu.
have tofu and who was the other guy? Hunk. Yeah. God, I played so much of the extra content.
I did too. So that's all in the game. They confirmed that they're Leon and Claire both get scenarios. Mm-hmm. Whether you're going to be able to do the A, B, B, A, Leon, Claire thing and mix it up and basically get kind of 4 different scenarios.
From the impression I got, you're going to get 2 scenarios, and you're going to get, probably Leon's will be the whole William Birkin G-Virus line, and then Claire's would be the more Tyrant Hunt kind of
Mr. X,
which is really cool because you kind of get 2 games in one. Because the B one, Mr. X, is chasing you. I know Nemesis kind of expanded on that idea, but I already know just from seeing the first 20 minutes and how genuinely scary it looked. Like, just to think about what's to come and what they can do with it.
Did you see the gameplay trailer where, like, they showed the map from the game, from the new game, and it looks exactly like
the
PlayStation game.
Yeah. Just like expanded a little bit.
And Leon goes to like some office room or whatever, and he's pulling up a door, and like some poor cop's like trying to crawl under the door.
Like he gets
halfway
ripped
through.
in half. That is so gory.
Just like classic zombie movie stuff. Like over the years, Resident Evil became kind of a Michael Bay type thing, but originally, you know, it was a zombie horror game.
Like it feels like it's taking it back to its roots.
It feels like the roots.
Yeah, and like I feel like the franchise had wandered big time the past 10, 15 years. And you know, I love Resident Evil 4, but that was kind of the first step in that new direction.
Yeah, definitely.
That upping the action a lot, and really like 5 and like especially 6 just took it to a ridiculous level. So, but it's nice. 7 came around and was like, oh, it's kind of a return to form, but first person was like a little jarring. But I know they want to do the VR. And another thing, the developers said that this should look significantly better than 7 because that game was designed to be both VR and playable, and that limited them with their graphics capability. So the RE engine is getting put into good use.
Yeah, the game looks great. The zombie design looks amazing. Like they talked that up a lot, like the bullet damage being reflected in real time, and all the zombies look distinct, and they look like old school kind of blue, like George Romero zombies.
Yeah,
it just feels the fact that the game is set in 1997 or 98. That they showed like a PlayStation.
That was so cool. Like
the nostalgia meters run pretty high.
That's the thing.
Now.
Seeing the police department, like seeing those familiar hallways, and like just like seeing the cops with the blue uniforms on.
I heard a rumor that you can actually like as an option select the old soundtrack while you play.
That's true. That's in the deluxe edition, actually. Yeah. Which like actually for like a few concerns, and here comes the picky, never change in me. Is there was, I feel like, in the sound direction, like I didn't hear any of the music from the original Resident Evil 2, but I know that music is usually like one of the last things they do in a game, so maybe we just haven't heard it yet, or they'll play it in different scenes, or I mean, it's still 6 months away, so they have a lot of time to change some things.
I know you didn't like that there was no like item pickup.
Yeah, I know that's picky as all hell,
no,
but I feel like just those like little touches. Like that's Resident Evil. I feel like that you always have that animation where you bend down and grab the item, even though except for 7, but it was first person view. So, but like just those like little touches, I feel would enhance the Resident Evilness of it. Another thing is like the menu. I wish I had the bloop bloop sounds and like just something alluding back to. It doesn't have to be verbatim the menu format, but just like. The colors or the kind of the format of it can be a callback.
If there's not a heart rate monitor in the menu, I send it back.
I
send it back.
And I do like when you get bit, the individual animations, and it shows like your like the caution or the danger.
Yeah.
Like I like that it's minimalistic on the HUD.
Right.
I feel like it's trying to be as immersive as possible instead of like Resident Evil 6 having like so much ammo and like jumping over shit. And another thing is Leon is so green and so is Claire. They're like kids pretty much. So their ineptitude provides more horror, so like instead of Leon being this like badass who like, suplexes.
Right, it's nice to see, and this was always sort of like the Silent Hill approach to survival horrors. Like you get these people who are they're just like regular guys, regular civilians that just, find themselves in these crazy situations. And
some people were complaining about the demos that the shooting was challenging. And the developers have said, oh, that's because these people are new.
I think it kind of should be.
And they could have a system where it gets better as you go. Like, that's the thing. Like, I don't want it to get too RPG-ish. Like, I want it to be just as, like, survival horror as possible.
Yeah, I don't want
in its game system.
I don't want there to be, and there's some of that like
you've leveled up your
aim. Yeah, there's some of that before.
Yeah.
I really don't want there to be a lot of that in this game.
Yeah,
like I want it to be kind of hard the entire way through.
Yeah, I do expect some form of customization though.
Probably. I mean, like every game has.
Like, because you could combine the silencer and stuff, but you couldn't like level up the weapon.
Yeah.
So, but I hope they don't really, respect the roots, but do something different. Like, this is the kind of route I like the remakes to be, honestly. Faithful, yet a new experience. Take note, Square. Look at the reception of this.
Capcom's killing it.
Yeah,
Capcom
yeah.
had a great showing this
For
year.
sure. Like, speaking of, I don't know if on the list, but Devil May Cry 5 looks killer.
Looks amazing.
Yeah. And they say that it's coming out in spring. So I'd assume, March, April, like right behind Resident Evil.
I'm not even really a Devil May Cry fan,
Yeah,
but I'm interested.
Like, I'm not really either. Actually, fun fact, Resident Evil 2's director went on to create the Devil May Cry franchise. And people are blowing him up on his Twitter. And he's like, and he said on Twitter, he's like, no one say anything to me again about Resident Evil 2 or I'll block you. Yeah, he got really upset because obviously he's not doing the remake. Because he runs Platinum Games. So, yeah.
He did all right.
He did all right, yeah. So I guess he's earned his soapbox. Devil May Cry 5 again. Like I just like these are the style of games that we play in high school, and like I'm kind of excited to see a resurgence of this style. So Capcom, like with Mega Man 11 on the horizon,
It's a good year for nostalgia.
yeah. Like I feel like the Capcom, like Konami, listen, Square, listen, like people are freaking out because of these franchises being revived that people love, or things that have been obvious fan demand for a while.
Well, I mean, the thing about Konami, though, and I was going to bring this up, is that, Hideo Kojima obviously has parted ways with Konami.
They can go the Silent Hill team together.
Team Silent is
disbanded.
Spread through the four winds.
Yeah.
Koji Igarashi, the guy, the grandfather of Castlevania, is working on a new game. Bloodstain.
Where does he work now?
It's an independent studio.
Oh, really?
It's a new studio. He blazed his own trail. So there's a new quote unquote Castlevania game.
Yeah.
A spiritual successor anyway. There's a new Mega Man game coming out.
Yeah.
Inafune's working on that. There's, obviously Resident Evil 2 remake.
Yeah.
There's
Speaking of, real quick,
that,
the developer for Resident Evil 2 remake said that he described the gameplay as being like a Metroidvania game.
Resident Evil 2?
Resident Evil 2, yeah, in spirit. So I mean,
they always kind of were. I mean,
it's difficult.
Gated areas, one giant map. Resident Evil's always kind of been a bit of a Metroidvania thing.
Well, just keep keep the gunplay. Have Devil May Cry go balls to the wall anime, but you gotta keep Resident Evil 2, grounded and
in reality.
In reality, exactly. Yeah, because I love how green Leon is, and it's all gonna be. I know that's gonna be a thrilling experience, especially because it comes out the same fucking week as Kingdom Hearts 3. That will be the most exciting video game week for me in a long time.
One of them's probably getting delayed.
Like 15 and Last Guardian came out within a week or two of each other, and those are two of my favorite PS4 games. So anyway,
RE2 is my highlight of E3.
Oh yeah, I described this in the other video. Resident Evil 2 was my favorite thing of E3, but I still gotta say Kingdom Hearts 3 is the game I'm looking forward to the most. But Resident Evil 2 is, thank you God, it's right behind it. It's close. So anyway. Moving on, so Sekiro? Shadows Die Twice. This was this heavily speculated.
Not once.
Heavily speculated Bloodborne sequel.
And I can't I can't get over the disappointment that it's not a Bloodborne sequel. That's really what I wanted to see.
Bloodborne was so good. And I don't know, maybe he was sick of making Souls-style games. And to his credit, Miyazaki's been doing that for a decade now. Mm-hmm. Demon's Souls, I think, came out in 2009.
Didn't From Software originally do the Tenchu games?
They did. They did. So I think they're trying to go back to a little bit of that.
It seems kind of like a Tenchu game.
Yeah.
Post Dark Souls, post Bloodborne Tenchu game.
A careful combination of those elements. Because it does look a bit more of a spectacle, it seems like a lot more cinematic and scripted sequences, but I'm sure that the gameplay will be challenging and intuitive. So the thing with Dark Souls is I feel like that they need to still make games like that and just have it as a side series, but I don't know.
I mean,
I don't want to seem like
they
I'm
said
not
they're
that
done with Dark
excited.
Souls. They said they're done with Bloodborne.
Yeah,
I mean, we'll see.
that's unfortunate.
We will see.
Well, but you know, I am excited for it. I do think it needs a little bit more work. I know that I'll end up buying this, even though I felt like they did give it a 2019 year. So
it did look a little rough around the edges.
It did,
I
it
gotta
did.
say.
Yeah,
like,
but I mean-
graphically it looked a little muddy.
like a year to polish it up. That's plenty of
Yeah,
time. But and honestly, like, have the Souls games ever been like these like graphical marvels? Like
No.
Like I mean, it's their design and their art direction that I think makes in their combat. So anyway, that one made the list. So and finally, this one we were kind of hesitant to put on the list, but we thought it looked interesting, and that's Ghost of Tsushima.
Looks a lot like Bushido Blade.
It does, and it looks like very intricate samurai combat. Like just
Very cinematic.
very- yeah.
I remember
Beautiful.
Harrison mentioned while we were watching the video, like a lot of the like the particle physics or like the texture effects, like the leaves,
The leaf
blowing in the
animation.
background and then the field.
Best
like, it
leaves
looked
of all
really
time.
Cool. Best leaves of E3.
yeah, for sure. But like just like the lighting in it and how cinematic it looked gorgeous. But it's still, I feel like that they need to, pull the curtain back a little bit more
Yeah.
on this one.
Tentatively interested, not super excited yet.
So anyway, let's finish up on a high note, which was CD Projekt Red's follow-up to The Witcher 3, Cyberpunk 2077, which looks really cool. Again, what impresses me in games, I said this about Kingdom Hearts, attention to detail. It just looks like this unique, mind-blowing world, and I know that Nick's excited too. So yeah, because it is. I haven't played The Witcher 3, which is one of my gaming sins.
So the trailer for Cyberpunk looked amazing. I mean, we haven't seen anything. The game was announced as being in development 4 years ago, something like that, give or take. So we hadn't seen anything on it in a long, long time. So this was just a really great treat.
Yeah, it's been in development for about 6-7 years, right?
Yeah, and the style looks amazing.
Yeah,
It looks sort of like Blade Runner. There's been a few interesting developments in the last few days about how the game is structured and what some of the mechanics are.
People have gotten to play it behind the scenes.
I just read before we started this that there's a gameplay.
Let us see the game.
There's 15 minutes. I'd be shocked if there's not gameplay in there.
Oh really? No, I don't think there's a video
There's
out
no
there
gameplay at all?
behind. No cameras allowed, where you can play it, but
so-
you're allowed to write about it.
Okay.
So that's
So it's in
better.
first person,
Yeah.
largely. I don't know. if
It's been described as
exclusively
like a
first
Deus
person.
Ex kind of style game.
But you mentioned attention to detail. One of my favorite things about The Witcher 3 was that it felt immersive. It felt like a lived-in, realistic world. Like a fantastical realistic world, but a realistic world that had depth and detail and felt lived in. And I definitely got that same vibe off of the trailer.
Yeah.
It seemed like there were, it's hard to describe. I think there was a lot going on in that. It looked like an interesting setting, the car with the brake lights revving up on the back looked really cool. All sorts of different snippets and clips that made this look pretty bizarre and out there and unlike anything else that's really coming out right now or in development.
Sorry guys, our friends are farting. Just kidding. What a good one. But yeah. Anyway, I just think that game, this is CJ Projekt Red's blowout moment. I feel. I'm not that The Witcher 3 wasn't, but this feels like they've got all. This is where they probably have a lot of money to spend on a game, and they got to prove themselves even more than The Witcher, which again I have not played. So it's hard. It's tough for me to gauge because I've never played a CJ Projekt Red game, but the Cyberpunk grabbed me, and I'm interested for sure. So, yeah, job well done. Yeah.
We'll see you again in 2 years.
2 years, right? I think if they're showing gameplay to people, I'm hoping next year, maybe late next year.
Yeah. I think they're farther along than we think.
I mean, they've been in production forever.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, I think that's
E3.
that's part 2. That's it. That does it. Our opinions are our own. But if you want to say below how we're incorrect or we're geniuses. Thanks. But yeah, subscribe and all that jazz. So peace. Later.